Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out the Monster Open Ear HP, and I can only assume that HP means headphones, and in fact this pair is using both bone conduction and air conduction all in this one headset. Now as far as the pricing, it does come in retailing at 99 bucks, but once again Monster reached out to give me a code to give you guys to use where you can save 40 bucks. You can actually pick these up for $59, but we're going to talk about what all comes inside the box. We're going to talk about the sound, the features, and see if it's worth the $59 or $99 price tag. So first off, let's go ahead and look at the design and the build quality, because I've seen several, around the neck type of headbands, from Shocks and some other companies. In fact, we just checked out the True Free last week, but I've never seen any that has a material like they used on the back. In fact, it is a titanium alloy headband. There's silicone around the parts that actually touch your skin. And actually these speakers that are on the end are aluminum, I guess we'll call them buds. But again, there is silicone on the inside, which is what touches right around your ear canal. And like I said, this is using air conduction and bone conduction, so it has to be placed in a certain way where you can feel the vibration, but it also has to be placed in a way where the speakers are down firing into your ear canal. So getting the right positioning makes a huge difference when using these. Now as far as technology, they are using Bluetooth 5.3. Now there's no high-end Bluetooth codecs here, but I honestly don't think I've seen it in any of these style of headbands, but it does have AAC and SBC. But this pair also has a gaming mode that you can switch them into, which cuts down the lag on things like movies, videos, and gaming all the way down to 60 milliseconds. So if you're looking for a pair like this to just use for different types of media, it will definitely have you covered. Now, if you are looking for this pair to use outdoors or at the gym, which is what I really think these are intended for, they come in with an IPX5 rating. So I really would like to see higher IP ratings on products like this, because they're going to be used in those situations where it's going to rain or you sweat, or it could be that you're at the beach, so you're going to be around water. So I would just like to feel a little bit more protected. But for rain and sweat, it's going to be fine. Just, again, don't drop it into water. Now, as far as what all they've included inside the box, you do get a little drawstring pouch to keep these in. And to charge these, it actually uses a little magnetic dock. And I do like this. Instead of actually having a flap on the headband that you have to peel off to be able to charge these, you just sit it on this dock and it will charge both sides. Because both sides actually are independent. They have their own battery in each side. And that's important to know, because to actually turn these on, if you're going to use both sides, you need to make sure that both sides are turned on. And when you do that, it will connect to one another, and then you can connect to the device that you're using. But the plus here is the battery life, because the battery life on itself, you're going to get about 7 hours. But if you only use one at a time, let's say you're somewhere where you're listening to a podcast or a TV show and you're just trying to hear the dialogue, you can use one side until the battery runs out, and then just turn on the other side by itself and just keep on going. So you can actually get double the battery life, which means you're going to get about 14 hours if that's all you care about. But obviously, if you're going to use these for music, you would just use both sides. And there is no fast charge feature on here, so it does take about an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully charge these. Now, moving over to the controls on these, both buds have a single button located on the back. This is what allows you to turn these on, and this is what allows you to control everything but the volume. So you have your play, your pause, your ability to skip your tracks forward, go backwards. You can also switch it into that gaming mode, but you can't turn up the volume or turn it down on these, which is kind of disappointing. So you will have to pull out your phone to do that. And for you guys that will use these for taking phone calls, I actually think they did a pretty decent job here. I do notice digital noise, and it does add warmth to my voice, but overall it picks it up pretty well, and it does block out a lot of my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is the mic test using the Monster Open Ear HPs, and like I said, it picks up my voice where I think people on the other end of the call can hear me clearly. Again, there is digital noise and it does sound slightly artificial, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. Now you remember at the beginning of the video where I said it's really important to make sure that you get the right positioning. I can't stress this enough. When I first started testing these, I thought they sounded flat. I really didn't pick up on the bass, and I was really disappointed. But the more that I messed around with them, I realized that I needed to have them pushed a little further back. But once they're sitting right about at the entry point of my ears, I noticed a huge difference. It started to pick up bass vibrations a lot more, and the direction of the audio pointing into my ear canal was bringing out a lot more details. Now, this is not going to be a bass heavy type of headphone, but that slight vibration gives these a really nice punch. But where I feel like these really stand out is the mids and the treble, especially the mids. I think dialogue is brought forward no matter what I was listening to, especially if you're listening to things like podcasts and TV shows. Just people talking are right up front. And same thing with going through different genres of music. I felt like the singer was always put in front of all of the instruments. You can tell that that was the focus with this pair, because the same thing with the treble, kind of like the bass, it is definitely there where you can tell they bumped it up a little bit, but it's not overpowering, it's not bright, and it's not in your face. And I think that blends really well with that nice subtle bass. So if you're somebody that really likes to hear vocalists and you really like to hear dialogue clearly, that is definitely the main focal point with these. And another thing that really stands out with this type of headphone is the soundstage and the sound imaging. Obviously, because of its design, you're going to get this very open sound, and these do an excellent job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion on these is I really like the fact that they're trying to take advantage of two different technologies and blending it into one, because most bone conducting type headphones lack clarity and most air conduction headphones lack bass, and this is trying to give you the best of both, and I think they pull it off in a nice subtle way. I really like the design and the build quality because it just feels sturdier, and it has kind of like a futuristic look that's a little bit different than some of the other products that I've tested. And I was also really surprised at how well these sounded. I think the only things that I have an issue with is I don't like the fact that you have to turn on both earbuds. Again, I guess the advantage is you can take advantage of having double the battery life. And I definitely wish that I had volume control on these, but that's kind of the case with any headphone or earbud that I test. I just want to be able to control everything on the device itself, and I don't like to rely on having to bring out my phone. So I think being able to pick these up at the $59 is a really good bargain. I think at the $99 price tag, it starts to creep up with some of the higher names, and so it makes it a little bit harder to recommend. But I've really enjoyed testing these over the past couple of weeks because of the convenience factor and the fact that you don't feel like you're sacrificing too much on audio quality. I found myself using this a little bit more than I would my normal earbuds or my headphones. So guys, that wraps up my video on the Monster Open Ear HP. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.